Good morning, students. Today we're going to continue with area of shapes. The focus is going to be triangles and trapezia. Now for the starter, I would like you to pause this video, spend no more than 10 minutes doing these questions, then resume the video to get your answers. Here are your answers. Please pause the video, mark them, then resume to move on to the next slide. Now we're going to derive the formula for the area of triangles. Here we have two rectangles on a centimeter grid. So the first thing we're going to do is find the area of each of the rectangles. For the purple rectangle, the area is 20 centimeters squared. When we count the squares, we'll get 20 squares. So that's why the area is 20 centimeters squared. We're going to do that for the red rectangle as well. When we count the squares, we get 8. So that means the area of the red rectangle is 8 centimeters squared. Now we're going to draw a diagonal in the purple rectangle, as you see, and this diagonal cuts our rectangle into two equal areas. So therefore it means that when we count the squares for our triangle, either of the two triangles, we should get 10 centimeters squared. So I'm going to count the squares, in the triangle. So starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the area for this triangle is 10 centimeters squared. So therefore means that this triangle here should also be 10 centimeters squared. Let's do that for the red rectangle. We're going to draw a diagonal and it should cut the rectangle into two equal areas. So let's see if we will get 4 for each of these triangles formed. So we're going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for this triangle, we get 4 centimeters squared. So therefore means that this triangle is also 4 centimeters squared. Now, if we go back to the formula for the area of a rectangle, it is area equal base multiplied by our perpendicular height. Now, when we drew the diagonal, it cut the shape into two triangles and also cut the area into two equal amounts. And so, if we want to find the area of a triangle, we find the base of the triangle multiplied by the perpendicular height of the triangle, and then we divide that by 2. So make a note of how to find the area of a triangle in your math books. Now we're going to do some calculations for area of triangles, and we're going to start with our first triangle. Remember, however, that the area of a triangle is base times perpendicular height divided by 2. So this triangle here, the area or base is 7, our perpendicular height is 4, and we need to divide that by 2. So we get 28 divided by 2, which is 14 centimeters squared. Let us look at another triangle. This time we'll be given the 3 lengths of the triangle. However, for the area of the triangle, we need the base and the perpendicular height. So for area for this triangle, our base is 6 and our perpendicular height is 8. And then we have to multiply them, then divide by 2. 6 times 8 gives us 48. Then we divide by 2 to get 24 centimeters squared. Another triangle, we just need to identify our base and our height. So the area is, here is our base, 9. If we extend this line here, we'll see that this height 4, the vertical line, makes 90 degrees with the base. So that means 4 is our perpendicular height. When we multiply them, we'll divide by 2 afterwards. So 9 times 4, 36, divided by 2 will give us 18 centimeters squared. Now for our final example, we need to find the area of the triangle. So we look at area, or base is 14. Or perpendicular height, see your vertical line to the base, it's 5. And then we need to divide by 2. So we'll get 14 times 5 is 70. And we divide that by 2 to get 35 centimeters squared. Now, if you look at these 2 triangles that have just come up, it's just the same triangle. However, the orientation of the triangle is different, so it's just turned around in different ways. But 14 is still the base, and the vertical height or perpendicular height is still 5. The same on the triangle here, 14 for the base, and then the perpendicular height still remains to be 5. So it doesn't matter the orientation, you just need to identify the base and then identify the perpendicular height from that base. Now let us have a look at this example. It said, shown is a square garden with a triangular pond. Find the area of the garden that is grass. So here we have our pond, which is blue. It has a shape of a triangle, and it said that our garden is square. So we know that all the lengths on the square is going to be 6 meters. It says find the area of the garden that is grass, or grass is colored green. And so what we'll have to do is find the area of our square, and that is going to be base times perpendicular height, which is 6 times 6, which gives us 36 meters squared. We also need to find the area of the pond, which is a triangle, and that is base times perpendicular height divided by 2. The base of our pond is 4. The perpendicular height is 3. And then we need to divide that by 2. 4 times 3 gives us 12. And then divide by 2 gives us 6 meters squared. Now we only need to give the area of our garden that is grass. So we need the green section. So all we have to do is subtract the area of the triangle from the area of the square. So the area of the square was 36. We need to subtract the triangle's area, which is our pond, which was 6. And so that gives us 30 meters squared. And that is our bit that is grass. let's look at finding the missing length for a triangle if the area is given. In this question it says, find the value of x if the area is equal to 10 centimeters squared. The base of the triangle is also given as 5 centimeters. So what we're going to start with is writing down the formula for the area of our triangle. So area is equal to base times perpendicular height, and we divide that by 2. In the question it says that the area is 10 centimeters squared. So now we can use that to help us finding x, which is our height of our triangle. Now we have divided base times height by 2 to get 10. So we have to think about what would be the value of base times height. Base times height would be equal to 20, because 20 divided by 2 gives us 10. So since our base is 5, so I'm just going to put base times height here. Base times our perpendicular height. We work that out to be 20. Since the base given is 5, we can now work out what the height is. Base times perpendicular height. So 5 times the perpendicular height should be 20. This value for the height should multiply by 5 to give 20. So that number is 4. So it means that the height of our triangle is 4 centimeters. Now here is another question similar to the first one, and I'd like you to pause the video, try to find out the height z of this triangle, then unpause and check if you got your answer correct. Okay, let us have a look. So starting with the formula, area of a triangle is base times perpendicular height divided by 2. The question says that the area is 21 centimeters squared. So we need to work out what base times height is. Now, what number do we divide by 2 to get 21? That number is 42. So it means that base times height is equal to 42. Now, they've given us the base to be 6. We do not know our height. That is what we need to find out. But we know 6 times the height should give us 42. So what number do we multiply 6 by to get 42? That number is 7. So the height of our triangle is 7. Now we're on to task 1. I would like for you to go to show my homework and open the link that you're seeing below. Read the instructions for what you need to do for task 1. Spend no more than 25 minutes on the task. Then you'll scroll to the bottom of the worksheet. Click on the green tick to mark your answers. Once you've finished, come back to the video to continue with the rest of the lesson. Now we're going to look at calculating the area of a trapezium. And the word trapezia is just a plural for trapezium. Okay, so it says a trapezium is a quadrilateral with only one pair of parallel sides. So in the drawing, we'll see where we have our red trapezium, and then we have a pair of parallel sides, which is indicated by A and B. So those arrows that you're seeing on those sides indicate that they are parallel. The height between the parallel sides is also very important for our formula. And so it says the area of a trapezium is given by half multiplied by the sum of the parallel sides. So we would have to add the parallel sides A and B, and then we'll multiply by the height. Another way of writing this is if we do the area of the trapezium is equal to the sum of the parallel sides first, so we add them together first, then we divide by 2 and then multiply by the height. And this is a real nice way of getting to our final answer when calculating the area of a trapezium. So here's a trapezium for an example, and we're going to calculate the area of the trapezium. So we need our formula. So A area is equal to the sum of the parallel sides A and B. So here we have our parallel sides. Then we divide that by 2. Then we multiply by the height. And so our parallel sides were 10 and 4. When we add them together, we get 14. We divide that by 2. Then we multiply by the height, which is 8. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 times 8 will give us 56 centimeters squared. Now we're going to look at these two examples for practice. So as a reminder, the area of our trapezium is given by adding the parallel sides first, then we divide by 2 and multiply by the height. So here we have our parallel sides in our first example, and our height between the parallel sides is 5. So area equal, add the parallel sides first to give 16, then divide by 2, then multiply by the height, which is 5. And we get 8 from 16 divided by 2, then we multiply by 5 to get 40 centimeters squared. In our second example, we have our parallel sides going upwards this time, so going up vertically, so our parallel sides are 8 and 11. And then the height between 8 and 11 is actually 4 centimeters, so that's our height. And so we will work out the area of the trapezium. So we add the parallel sides, which is 11 and 8, which gives us 19. Then we divide that by 2, then multiply by the height, which is 4. So 19 divided by 2 is 9.5, and multiply that by 4 to get 38 centimeters squared. Pause the video and try these two problems. Then once you're through, resume to check if you got the correct answer. Okay, for the first one, we'll identify our parallel sides, which are 3 and 7, and the height between the parallel sides is 4. So the area will therefore be, at the parallel sides, 7 plus 3, 10. Divide that by 2, then multiply the height, which is 4. So we get 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 times 4 will give us 20. So it's 20 centimeters squared. On this example, we can see our arrows indicating our parallel sides. So here they are. And the height between the parallel sides is 9. So area equal, at the parallel sides, which is 29, we divide that by 2, then we multiply by our height, which is 9. We'll get 29 divided by 2, 14.5. Multiply that by 9, and we get 130.5 centimeters squared. Let's try some extension problems with trapezium. Now the first example, we have a trapezium with area 42 centimeters squared, and the length of the two parallel sides are given. We have to now find the height, which is labeled x. So we need the height of the trapezium. So we're going to start with the formula. Area equal the sum of the parallel sides divided by 2 multiplied by height. And we're going to substitute the information as given. So the parallel sides are 11 and 17. When we add them together, we get 28. And we'll divide that by 2, multiply by the height, which we need to find. And that should give us the area 42 centimeters squared. Now, 28 divided by 2 is 14. 14 times the height is 42 centimeters squared. And so we need to find this value for the height. 14 times what number gives us 42? That number is 3. So it therefore means that our height of our trapezium is 3 centimeters. Let's try another example. We've been given a trapezium again. This time the area of our trapezium is 20 centimeters squared. We have been given one length of the parallel sides, and also we've been given the height of the trapezium. So we're going to write the formula. Area is equal to the sum of the parallel sides divided by 2 multiplied by height, and again we'll do our substitution. So if we're given one parallel side, which is 8, so it's 8 plus b divided by 2 times the height, which is 4, and that should give us an area of 20 centimeters squared. And we're going to focus on this box right here. Alright, now 4 times the box is going to be 20, so it means the box is 5. So it therefore tells us then that 8 plus b divided by 2 is equal to 5. Now we're going to focus on 8 plus b, because when we divide 8 plus b by 2, we should get 5. So it therefore means that 8 plus b has to be 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now that we know that 8 plus b is equal to 10, we can find b. 8 plus what number would give us 10? That number is 2. So it therefore means that the missing length for the parallel side is 2 centimeters. Here's another extension problem. It says Mr. Taylor keeps chickens in the field shown. Is a trapezium. The shape of the field is a trapezium. It says each chicken needs 3 meters square. So what's the maximum number of chickens he can keep in the field? So first of all, we need to find out what area we are working with. So let's go for area of the trapezium is the sum of the parallel sides divided by 2 times the height. The parallel sides in this trapezium 12 and 17, so when we add them together we get 29. Then we divide that by 2 and multiply by the height, which is 9. When we work this out, we get 14.5 times 9. When that works out, it gives 130.5 centimeter squared. It says the chicken needs 3 meters squared, so it's the maximum number of chickens that can be kept in that field. We'd have to divide the area of the trapezium, which is 130.5, by 3 meters for each chicken. When we work that out, 130.5 divided by 3, we get 43.5. And so it therefore means the maximum number of chickens that can actually be kept in that field is 43 chickens. Here's another extension problem. They said that the trapezium and the triangle have the same area. We need to calculate the height of the triangle. So what we have to do first is find the area of the trapezium. We know that our trapezium's area is given by the sum of the parallel sides divided by 2, then we multiply by the height. And so 6 plus 10 in bracket divide by 2 times height will give us 16 divided by 2 times 5. As 5 is our height. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 times 5 is equal to 40. So our area for our trapezium is 40 centimeters squared. Now it says a triangle has the same area. Now the formula for our triangle, as we know, is base times the perpendicular height divided by 2. It says that the area is the same for the triangle, so therefore means that should also be 40 centimeters squared. They have given us the base of the triangle. Okay, so we have that's also useful. However, let's start with base times height. What should base times height work out to be? Base times height when divided by 2 is 40, so we need to find out what is that number. That number is 80. 80 divided by 2 gives us 40. So base times perpendicular height is 80. They said that the base is 5, so we can now work out our perpendicular height. And 5 times the height would be 80. So what number do we multiply 5 by to get 80? And that is 16. So then the height of our triangle is 16 centimeters. Now we're on to task 2. So I'd like to go to show my homework, follow the instructions for the task, spend no more than 25 minutes on the task, then scroll to the bottom of the worksheet, click on the green tick, mark your answers. Once you're through with that, please send me photos of your work on show my homework for me to check and give you feedback. Thank you.